collection of garments that is from our reality competition for knitters. It's sort of like Project Runway for knitters. Who's been watching? Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. If you haven't been watching, there's still time to catch up. You can catch up. We're announcing actually the final 3 people today. So you have time to catch up, and then they'll be designing collections, which will be going into a grand competition that we'll announce at VK Live New York in January. So you can catch up, pick your favorite, root for your favorite, and then there's still a lot of excitement ahead of us. So let's get started with the show. The first garment we have is by Talitha Kwame. This is part of Challenge 1. This was actually the winner of Challenge 1, and it's called Nigamo. It is a simple white t-shirt, but it has details that elevate it way beyond basic. There's striping, it's all in the linelos, which comes in natural undyed shades of linen and wool. You can see there's a leather embellishment at the neckline, which forms its own jewelry. It hangs down the back, it can hang in the front if you wanted it to. The edgings on this are all different. The bottom is ribbed, I think she has a folded cuff, and there's a rolled cuff. So there's a lot going on in this design, even though it looks very clean and elegant. My favorite detail here is the sleeve detail, which you can see just gives a peek of skin in a little triangular cutout. Next we have Ridley Run by Jeanette Cross. This was a Challenge 1 garment as well, where they were challenged to knit their life. So she knit her biography into this sweater. There's all sorts of historical detail and reference, and Jeanette is one of our more romantic, imaginative competitors. She's always incorporating a lot of historical detail. And geographic detail too. She always has some stories about where she lives. This is knit with Milford, Shalana Milford, and it is a treaty yarn, a wool blend with silk and mohair, and it shows cables really well. You can see that this is there's gorgeous stitch definition. You can abbreviate the length of this if you'd like it to be a shorter cardigan, or keep it as a carcoat length as Jeanette designs. Next we have All You Knit Is Love, which was a fan favorite from Challenge 2. It is by Lauren Riker, who is a lingerie designer based in New York City. And Lauren's name for her business is Girly Knits. And as you can see, she is girly to the max. She has incorporated a lot of trends here. We have pastel neon brights and a gradation ombre effect on the back that she did with splicing yarns together. So this is actually Simplicity Haiku, or Haiku Simplicity, sorry. It's a washable merino superwash blend with a little bit of nylon and acrylic. It is lightweight and soft and machine washable. There's a lot of detail here. There's argyle, there's slip stitches, embroidery, lace in the shoulders, tons going on. And that was part of Challenge 2. One of the Challenge 2 winners is walking down the runway now. This is by Tracy Percher. This is called Boxes and Boxes. And it is in the Simply Worsted, which is the heavier version of Simplicity. So same yarn blend, but worsted weight and air and gauge. And here, Tracy has started at one hem edge, gone right up over the shoulder. She kind of did a really innovative neckline. She cut, actually. You can do a steep, or you can do it on waist yarn, but she left a slit there, and it makes it all seamless. Basically, you go right over the shoulder, and I think there might be a little side seam, but minimal finishing. The sleeves are all done as part of the piece as well. And she also changed with intarsia and texture. She's got a lot of changes going on here. Very fun, very mid-century modern. I think this one screams Mad Men. These patterns are available on fiberfactory.com, by the way. Most of them. Florentina is also available on fiberfactory.com. It's by Natalie Larson. This one was inspired by Matryoshka dolls, so she uses some peasant-inspired embroidery on the fronts. She did duplicate stitching, and if the model will move her hair, you can see in the back there is a back detail. Yes, right at the back there's a little embroidery. It's almost like a little tattoo embellishment. It's very sassy. Natalie likes clean lines, and she also likes seamless design, so this is all knitted around with minimal finishing. Very easy, very breezy. I wore this at TNNA in June, and it was really comfortable and really, really fun to wear. This is also knit in Haiku Simplicity. Challenge 2 was a boxy sweater challenge, by the way. The next one was the winner, one of the winners for Challenge 2. It is Haiku Simplicity again. We didn't require that they use that yarn, but a lot of them did opt to use Haiku Simplicity. And it is knit in an amazing way. It is a basically rectangle over the body with very tight sleeves, which keeps it looking sloppy. So she has a trim sleeve, but the body is very drapey and voluminous. And the centerpiece here is obviously that intarsia garter panel in the middle that was inspired by stained glass in a Frank Lloyd Wright house. The color choices here are absolutely expert. I know a lot of us like to substitute and switch colors, but here I think Rachel Henry has nailed it on the head. and it's stunning. This pattern is available, and it was the winner for Challenge 2. From Challenge 2 as well, we have another Haiku Simplicity garment. It's Matryoshka Pullover by Jody Gordon-Lucas, and the color work here is stunning. She used black as a stark contrast to primary colors in the background, so it changes from red to blue to green to orange, and it's really stunning. Here you have to really appreciate it close up, so drop by our booth to see all the details that Jody incorporated. There's tabs at the sleeve edges and a really beautiful mitered neckline. This was part of Challenge 2, color inside the box. Part of the challenge as well was that they had to use color in a very, we just told them to use color to inspire us. Bravura is walking down the runway now. You may have seen this in the show booklet. It's one of the ads in the show booklet, and it's by Tracy Pritchard. This was the runaway winner for Challenge 3, where the challenge was to knit with one color. After we gave them all the color choice in the world, we took it away from them, and we made them knit with one color of yarn, which is this oatmeal-colored natural. It's Haiku Kennedy, which is a kitchen sink yarn. It's a blend of Angora, nylon, silk, New Zealand wool, lots of different yarns, and it's very lightweight. This is double-stranded, and it's obviously a lot of fabric, but it still feels incredibly light and cozy when you wear it. So Tracy blew our minds with the construction here. It's basically a tube with some very clever seaming and a cape, and you can see in the back there's a T-strap that reinforces everything. Exactly. That's what we thought too. Tracy is really one of our most innovative designers and really fun to watch. She's always surprising us, and this one here is very generous. You can put the hood up and have some drama. You can also shorten the hood if you'd like a closer fitting hood. But she has herringbone stitches at every edge, which makes it really refined and beautiful. We absolutely love Bravura, and it's turning into one of our hits on fiberfactor.com. It's a pattern you can find there, and lots of people are making it. Next we have a winner from Challenge 4. This is Lauren Riker again. If you remember, she did the All You Need Is Love super girly sweater. This is her girly ensemble that she made on the Addy Express machine, the knitting machine. So you can knit back and forth and in the round on this machine. And she did that. She knit panels on the bottom and 2 pieces for the top and finished it off with a little bit of garter stitch that is hand knit. So she used a little bit of hand knitting to make it look knitterly, but the other pieces only took her a few hours to complete. So this entire outfit was only a few hours of knitting on the machine. She also incorporated a felted bag, and she used Citron Nimbus, which is a single-ply merino, very soft. You can wear it right next to your skin, and it comes in solids and coordinated variegated shades. So Lauren won with this challenge. Next we have the Emma Oversized Sweater Tee by Megan Navoy. She's our youngest competitor. She is currently at FIT in New York, studying fashion and merchandising and marketing. And this is really a sweater that we thought could be incorporated as my first project on the Addy Express. So again, this was knit on the machine in just a few hours. She used the solid color on the top with a very simple boat neckline opening, and the bottom has been variegated, and she decided to go side to side so you get horizontal slimming stripes rather than vertical slimming stripes rather than horizontal. This is a combination again of Citron Nimbus and Nimbus Multi. We have Trans-Europe Express by Steve May. This was a Challenge 4 fan favorite. We really loved what he did here. Instead of knitting on the machine a piece, he knit actually a long strip of stockinette, which curled up on itself, as we all know that it has a tendency to do. So it acts like I-cord. It's a lot faster to make than I-cord. So then he knit with the yarn that he basically made out of the Citron Nimbus, which is single-ply merino, and then he used a tiny bit. They also had to use a multicolor, and he used it right at the back of the neckline. He was inspired by ski vests, vintage ski vests, which you can see the inspiration there pretty clearly. It's really dramatic, really fast, and it was a Challenge 4 favorite. Not a winner, but we really did admire the ingenuity. Shades of Grey is next. This is by Natalie Larson. This was a Challenge 4 piece as well. If you can believe, I mean, there are panels in there that add shaping. Natalie's seaming is absolutely impeccable, so you can't really tell where the panels begin and end, because she's done such a good job with her seaming. She also knit I-cord and applied it as a faux cable. So it's an embellishment that is very dimensional and very eye-catching. And she did that at all the hem edges and cuff edges and along the front there. Natalie manipulated the yarn too she took out a little bit of purple and so she could keep it all in the gray family. Natalie is in charge of her knitting, just like all of us. Next we have a very exciting challenge. This was Challenge 5. which we judged at Stephen B's yarn store in Minneapolis. This is by Terry Rosenthal. This is an ensemble made with art felt, and it is stunning. It was one of the top two. It was very, very difficult to decide between the two top designs, but this was absolutely one of them. And she has an ensemble that is a skirt that is made with felt, and you use this paper that is dissolvable with boiling water. If you stop by the booth, we will tell you all about it, and you can see these up close. The stunning bustier was knit with triple in silk, and then she added embellishment on top. And if you want to, you can wear these with club shorts, which are very sassy, very cute. Oh yeah. I mean, come on. You're gonna turn heads in this, wherever you go. My favorite part is probably the neckline, the neck embellishment. It is really cool. There's chains. It's just stunning. I really don't know what to say about this. You have to admire this one up close. So stop by the booth so you can admire Terry's handiwork. You had to use an unconventional material in this challenge. She used tin foil, she used hardware from the hardware store, she used chain, she manipulated everything with felt and paint, and just a lot of attention to detail that is absolutely stunning. And Terry's here, so we'll embarrass her later. We also have a Jordan Baker special by Katie Remby. This was also in the top. We really admired Katie's sleek approach. This looks like a Calvin Klein dress to us. She used washers along the bottom. She did felting over lace fabric, so you get a bit of texture peeking through the lace. And this is a nearly black color. It has a bit of navy blue, a midnight blue effect as well. The shrug on top is where she used her art felt. So she knit a shrug using in silk, and then felted on top of it to give it a fur effect. And if you don't want to wear fur, this is a great substitute. It actually looks like fur. So each piece by itself is amazing, but together I think it's really stunning. Next up we have our Challenge 5 winner, which is called Nike by John Rabe. And this is also with in silk. This is all using shovel in silk and the art felt paper. John's stunner was a perfect counterpoint to Terry's. We saw them as good and evil. This is absolutely gorgeous. He sewed for the first time, I believe, and applied stitching to mimic the charcoal sketches. And I mean, there's a lot. John always has a lot of inspiration points that kind of coalesce into one gorgeous piece. We absolutely loved his fabric. He singed the edges, so you see a little bit of burning along the edges. It's raw, it's organic, it's stunning, and this is something that you really could wear to an event, and nobody would really know that you whipped this together at home, although maybe not in a couple of hours. The back is spray-painted hang tags, so those might be familiar to people who are labeling swatches in yarn stores. He spray-painted all of them in a gradation and applied them to knitting, so those are knit into a knit piece under there. And we really love that it gives a hard counterpoint to the softness of the front. Omega was also one of the favorites from Challenge 5. It's by Talitha Kwame, and the fur on the collar here is really elevating it to a luxurious place. Her inspiration was apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, futuristic, what are we going to have to do to survive in the future? So she incorporated some silver gift wrapping cord that looks a little like a circuit board, and she also attached chains. And if we can have you unzip the vest, the inside is lined with a metallic fabric that is really, really cute. Just adds a little sass there. Talitha always keeps things very clean and elegant, but very interesting as well. The sleeve edges here are knit with in silk in a coordinating color. All of the roving in the yarn comes in dye-to-match colors, so they match really well. The back yoke and the sleeves are knit, so the bottom is art felt and the top is knit. So you can blend the art forms here really easily. We're on to Challenge 6 now, which we just judged, and we'll be announcing the winner now, or at the end of the show. We have Plaid is the New Black by Natalie Larson. It is knit with haiku kenzie and simplicity. So the simplicity is the colorful plaid, and the haiku kenzie is the base, which is gray. This challenge was to use a piece of jewel hardware and to feature that piece and really make it shine. Here she had a closure that's called a big buttonhole. So basically, if you forget to knit buttonholes into your piece, you can actually just screw one on with this jewel piece. It's a leather buttonhole on one side and then a big leather button on the other. The great thing about jewel pieces is that they are removable. You can remove them and easily replace them. You can switch the position around. Natalie did a really cool thing here with raglan shaping, so you get a perfectly matched stripe. It's kind of hard to match up stripes perfectly, but here you get them all in one piece and it's really sharp looking. Trish Malcolm said that she would publish this right now. This is Radiance by Talitha Kwame. She knit it in Zitron Unisono, and she was inspired by her Baroque piece, which has freshwater pearls and all kinds of sparkly things on it. She also matched it with beads on the lower part of the scarf. It can be worn a million different ways. She'll include, she included photos with different things, but I'm not sure we're going to have you. It's a bit of an origami folding trick, so we'll just leave it like this for now. But it's a very elegant shrug shawl hybrid, and really it's a piece of jewelry more than anything because it's just embellishing the shoulders and featuring that piece of jewel hardware. Zitron Unisono is a sport weight that is treated with aloe and jojoba, so it softens your hands while you're wearing it, which is pretty cool. I mean, while you're knitting it, and then probably while you're wearing it. Next up, we have one of the Challenge 6 pieces that was also a favorite. This is Christiana Cowl by Terry Rosenthal. And the Baroque piece of jewelry is featured really beautifully here. I'm not sure if we have it on there now, but Terry also included felt pieces that you could put underneath the hardware to have a little peak of color. And you can also change it to match your outfit or to change with the seasons. It's very cool. And Terry's cowl and shawl also can be worn a million ways. It can be worn around the shoulders, it can be worn as a vest, it can be woven together. She has buttons and snaps, and she hand-dyed those buttons. Again, Terry is one of our most attentive, detail-oriented designers, and it really, really shines in the finished piece. Also in Challenge 6, we have Not Again by Tracy Percher, and this is knit with Zitron Nimbus, which is that soft, puffy, merino single ply. She used the jewel hardware in an unusual way, so this, if you can even imagine, it's actually a bag handle. So instead of using it on a bag, she knotted it in sort of an equestrian-inspired knot. A lot of people have been saying bridle, like bridle, not bridle, but you know what I mean, on a horse. And she used it here as a centerpiece to hold those flaps down. And the flaps are knit doubled. It's a tube that she has linked I-cord through. So it's very cool, very dimensional, and extremely warm. I think this would be perfect in a city where the wind is whipping around and blowing your scarf a million directions. Here, the hardware is just really going to keep it in place and keep it cozy around your neck. This was a high drama piece that we really responded to. Havemeyer scarf is a lightweight scarf, made more of a summer garment. This is by Megan DeBoy, and here she used the jewel hardware to connect the two ends. She also switched up the texture and the yarn, so she used Linenlos and Zitron Nimbus, and the contrast between the two was really interesting. She has the soft, poofy yarn next to the crisp linen wool blend. And we really loved her simplicity in this one. This is an all-seasons kind of garment. Next up in our accessories, we have the Mascara Hooded Cowl, Mascara, I can't really say that well, by Lauren Riker. And this is a really practical garment again. It's a convertible cowl hood, and you can wear it, as you see on your sheet, you can wear it just over your head and draped loosely. You can wear it around the shoulders, or you can really bundle up and wrap it around all the way and snap it in front with those big snaps and keep it nice and cozy. So, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Chicago. I know how cold it gets here. This is the kind of garment that you want wrapped around your head. It's double-stranded Milford, so it's that soft, tweedy wool blend. And here it's double-stranded, so it's going to be a very quick knit on size 11s, and it's still going to be very firm and substantial. Jewel's hardware is very substantial, and you need a firm fabric to really support it a lot of the time. But it's really durable and practically made, so I think you're going to love it. It's on the show floor, so if you need to know where to find it, come and see us. The Carry-On Push and Bow is by Rachel Henry, and this is part of Challenge 6 as well. She had a shawl closure, and she chose to use it in an unusual way. She used it as an embellishment on this hat. So she also chose to pair Linenlos with the different yarns for contrast with Shulana Kitseda, and she chose 4 colors to blend. She actually chose from 10. She wanted to blend, and she found the perfect blend among 4. So she held them double-stranded so that they would pick up the colors in the abalone shawl pin. Trish Malcolm also had a lot of good things to say about this one because she felt like it combined rustic English tweed with a really beautiful garden-inspired soft mohair silk brim. Very decorative, very Downton Abbey. up we have a Katie Rempe design. This is Bejeweled, which is a dog leash and dog sweater. The leash is actually another bag handle that is being used in an unusual way here. This is really a pampered pooch because the sweater is knit with finest royal alpaca from Zitron, which is a very luxurious fiber. But when you're knitting for a small pet that you love, it's really, who spares any expense? It's adorable. Katie is one of our most off-the-wall contestants. She has knit pants, she has knit bathrobes, she has knit some really amazing pieces. And I would just like to point out that she sent us this dog, fully dressed. It popped up in the box. And so she really, you have to watch her videos. She's really funny. She knows how to present her work. It's pretty impressive. Next up we have the Ciao Bella Knitter's Tote by Jody Gordon Lucas. And it's haiku simplicity in Chopol's Albergola, which is the stripy black and white yarn you see. And she chose her yarns perfectly based on what she was given. So she was given jewel clasps in a zebra print. And she had a lot of them, so she decided to use them to make a bag with lots of functionality. She has a really amazing closure. If we flip the bag over, you can see there's a flap, a traditional flap on one side, and then the closure, the other side, is almost origami-like. It has vents and it opens up, and it's really cool. You can snap it in a lot of different ways. She made this with knitters in mind because there are pockets to stash patterns, there's pockets to stash knitting, yarn, there's straps inside that keep everything in place, and she also built in some firming foam and fabric lining so that everything stays nice and solid. Nothing's going to droop out of shape. Everything is lined, everything is thought of. Jody is a very, very thoughtful knitter. Exactly. This is a new bag as well. We have another bag from Challenge 6. This is a backpack by Steve May, and I had the pleasure of watching Lily Chin road test this during the judging session, and she basically put a lot of heavy glass water bottles, walked around the room, and then jumped up and down a few times, which was pretty cute. She wanted to see if the straps would stretch out of shape, and they really didn't, because Steve chose to held his yarn double-stranded, knit it at a very firm gauge, and also used stitches that don't stretch very much, so linen stitch, things like that, seed stitch. It's all chosen very thoughtfully. Steve is actually one of our contestants that has been knitting less than a year, and it's amazing to watch what he's learned in a year. So he's really learned, what you can and can't do with fabric, along with our mentor, Josh Bennett, who is standing right over there, who has been coaching all of our contestants, giving them advice, and they've really blossomed under his tutelage. So we really love the closures here, and it's shuffle gradient. So he chose two colors, or actually one color, but held two balls together to get even more gradient, even more marl and texture, and this is right on trend. If you've been paying attention, ombre gradient is really, really hot right now. The East Wash backpack is also really cool. It's by Jeanette Cross, and it is what I think of as a really hip update on the fanny pack. So fanny pack is almost a dirty word in the fashion world, but I think this is really, really cool. You can sling it across your body, and you can wear this while biking, while you're on the subway. It's just something that's going to be really convenient and hands-free. And she was inspired by her closure to knit a cable pattern into the yarn. So it's very subtle in this yarn, but you can still see that it mimics the closure, which is really the focal point. So she has patent leather with 3 or 4 metal rings, which also means that you can adjust this really easily. So this is knit with shovel linen hose. She also knit this double-stranded and on size 3 needles, which I don't recommend doing for hours and hours because that is kind of a tight gauge. So take lots of breaks and stretch your hands. You might want to have some muscle rub nearby, but it does make for a beautiful, dense fabric that won't stretch out of shape. Our last garment here is M. Polo by John Rave. This is part of Challenge 6. He used bag handles in the traditional way, but we can all agree that the bag is far from traditional. It is gorgeous. It is large and in charge, and it is knit with Shopple in silk, Haiku Kenzie, and Shulana Kid Seda. So he chose some of our most luxurious yarns, knit them into a gorgeous spiral design, and then felted it for stability. The bottom is really one of my favorite parts here, because he used plastic canvas and wove yarn in and out to make this beautiful, non-knit bottom that still has lots of yarny appeal. The fixtures here, he has leather details on the zipper pulls, and the front piece, which was done in duplicate stitch, was inspired by music, a piece of music I believe. So it is abstract, it's artistic, it's very, very John. Thank you. Lily road tested that one as well, and it held up beautifully. All the bags did.